Hello yogis and my bookish people, and welcome to Novel Yoga, where the yoga flows from the page. Today's book is Atalanta. What a strong female character. Jennifer Saint shows us how Atalanta fights for her place in the Argonauts, how she defies the traditional role for women, for nymphs, for a follower of Artemis, and she forges her own place in the world. How does she do all this? Well, yep, she can run faster than most men and is also a pretty wicked shot with a bow and arrow. But really, it's her self-belief. Atalanta shows us that if you believe in yourself, in your capabilities, and you refuse to let others limit your beliefs, then you can accomplish anything. What I really like is how she manages to prove herself amongst the men of the Argo, but also she finds love and follows her heart, proving that you can do both things. So today's theme is about self-belief. As you come to the mat today, we'll be releasing the solar plexus chakra, allowing our confidence and self-worth to flow. And as we move towards our peak pose today, I'm going to ask you to allow yourself to believe. So join me on your mat and let's get started. We'll start our sequence today with the Mishtika Mudra. This mudra will help us to let go of self-doubts and of any of our self-defeating habits. It allows us to believe in ourselves, which is perfect for our Atalanta sequence today. To take the mudra, the pads of your fingers draw towards your palms, and then your knuckles touch, thumbs to touch also. So in this mudra, knuckles and thumbs touching, we are allowing ourselves the heart of compassion. We reduce anxiety and self-doubt, and we calm the spirit and clear the mind. We're going to take this mudra in our child's pose today. So I invite you to come into a child's pose on your mat. I'm going to let you choose whether you prefer knees together or knees apart. I will suggest that your toes touch and your heels drop out, so you've got that comfortable seated position. When you're ready, take the mudra and allow yourself to come down onto the mat into child's pose. Forehead to the mat. Hold the mudra here and take some breaths to relax into our sequence. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And if you continue to hold the child's pose with the Mishtika Mudra, we'll open with a quote from Atalanta. I am more myself than I have ever been. I am wild. I am free. So continue to hold your child's pose as you consider that quote. For me, it's a great one because I feel sometimes it takes us some time to find ourselves, to find that person we want to be and allow ourselves to be it. And quite often it doesn't come at that stage when we're in our 20s or our teen years, but it comes later in life. So yes, today is about allowing ourselves to be that woman we know we can. And it's a lovely quote. So we'll just take a few more breaths here with the Mishtika Mudra in child's pose. Inhale and exhale. Inhale in and let that self-belief flow through you. Exhale and release the self-doubt. Inhale and believe. Exhale, release the doubt. We're going to continue in a child's pose, but I'm going to ask you to take a strap now so that we can start to warm up our shoulders. If you haven't got a yoga strap, I do recommend getting one, but if not, using a scarf, a belt, any strip of fabric, a tea towel rolled up would be absolutely fine. You take your hands behind you and put them into the strap or holding your scarf about shoulder distance apart. Come back down into your child's pose. And you're just feeling that slight pressure as you push or pull, if you're holding onto a strip of fabric, against the resistance of the strap. So it's like you're trying to open your shoulder blades here. And then as we take our child's pose, you can inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Inhale to lift, exhale, lower. So really lovely warm up for the shoulders, which of course is perfect for Atalanta because as the famous archer that she was, I'm imagining she was pretty strong on the shoulder department. If you're finding it too intense to raise and lower, you can just hold it. Feel that stretch, there's still that resistance there against the strap and it's still going to do you the world of good. And lower. Release your strap. And can you come into a staff pose? So turning round, sitting on your bottom, feet straight out in front of you. And because our peak pose today is going to be using our wrists, we are going to warm up our wrists now with wrist flicks. So in your staff pose, hold your arms up and just flick your wrists. And it's such a minimal movement, flicking your fingers, but it does build the strength in your wrists and also, more importantly, in your forearm here. So we're going to do this for about a minute and you will really feel those muscles in your forearm start to work, start to burn. So you're not particularly jarring your wrist, it's more about your fingers. Your wrists are almost still. Hold your staff pose, pull your core in, get that nice posture. You're getting everything you can from this. And although it feels, as I say, really basic, you should start to feel now those muscles in your forearm, those tendons really working. And then while we're here, we will take a twist just to warm up our side body. So just a few more flicks. I can definitely feel it in my arms now. This is great if you sit typing all day, if you suffer from any kind of repetitive strain injury, this is a really good one to do. And just shake that out, relax your wrists, lift your right knee, place it over the left, turn round behind and look over your right shoulder, and you can hook your elbow onto your knee to deepen that twist. Make sure you're not leaning back here, so keep your core engaged, your back straight, and just look over your right shoulder to enjoy a gentle twist. Turn back to centre, look over your left shoulder, just to unwind. Release your right knee, and let's repeat on the other side. Bend your left knee, place it over your right, hook your right elbow onto your left knee, and look over your left shoulder here. Again, make sure you're not dipping back, so keep that core engaged and posture upright. A few breaths here. Return to centre. Look to the other side just to release the twist. And back to centre. So back in our staff pose now, and we're going to warm up our legs. So Atalanta, as well as being a famous archer, was obviously also an amazing runner. And I'm not going to do a lot of cardio in this workout, but I am going to really work those leg muscles for you. So this is a really simple exercise again, but exceptionally effective. So flex your toes, point them to the ceiling, engage your core. Imagine you're pulling on a tight pair of jeans and you've just done that zipper up. Lift your right leg up. Turn it out 45 degrees. Up and back to centre. We'll repeat this 10 times on each side. So we're going to come up, not too far, just a few inches will do. Move it out 45 degrees, lower, and keep going. So that's 2. Try not to let yourself fall back, so keep that core engaged. And I can already feel this really working the muscles of my leg. It's also great for inner groin and hip rotation. If you do feel you need a bit more support, feel free to put your hands by your sides. It's about 4. Make sure you're breathing. Inhale and exhale. Should really feel the burn in this leg. It's such a simple exercise, but so effective. And obviously, the slower you can go, the more you're going to get from this pose. So it's not about rushing through it. There's no race to the finish. We are just gently lifting and lowering. Well, I may have lost count. I think we're just about coming up to 10 now, so we're going to repeat on the other side. If you want, just give that leg a shake out. Also give it a little massage, so a little tapping with your knuckles, particularly on that inner groin. And let's repeat on the other side. Core tight, lift up, 45 degrees and lower. And this is not only engaging our core and strengthening our legs, it's just a really great exercise in general. Make sure your foot is flexed, pointing up towards the ceiling. Make sure you are remembering to breathe. And you're not tipping back. We're on about 9. Go at the pace that suits you. If I'm going a bit fast, take it slower. You can always pause the video. And I think that's about 10. Again, give yourself a little massage, shake it out. Release the tension in your legs. And we're now going to take a happy baby. So scoot down, come onto your back gently. Lift your feet and reach to clasp the soles of your feet. Draw your knees down towards your armpits. And just open up that hip area. Take some inhales and exhales. You might want to rock from side to side. Happy baby is always a beautiful, relaxing pose, but it's also a great stretch for your hips, a great way to open up tight hips. And then from here, we're going to take a reclined crow pose. I want you to place your palms as though you're pushing on the ceiling. Draw your knees towards your chest. You can touch the toes if you want. Or there's also a good opportunity here. You can use a block in between your feet. So you're squeezing your feet together, squeezing that block. And then your knees are going to rest either on your forearms, on your the back of your arms here, or they can squeeze on the outside. But I want you to really focus on that pushing motion, as though you are pushing the ceiling away. Draw your core in to support you, and let's just hold this pose for a few breaths. And if you haven't guessed it already, we are obviously working towards a crow pose today. We're all about self-belief. We are going to throw ourselves into this pose with confidence and belief. So today we've already warmed up our wrists a lot. We're now taking a reverse or a reclined crow pose just to get used to that position. To get used to the strength in our core, to hold our knees in. Get used to that sensation of pushing. And release. Just take a moment to stretch out legs, stretch out your arms. And from there, put one hand down to gently come up. And we're going to finish our warm up with a tabletop. Come onto your hands and knees. Knees under your hips, hands under your shoulders. Find a neutral position here. So we're not arching our back and we are not going the other way. We are in a neutral tabletop position. And we're just going to spend a moment rotating our wrists. So take your left wrist, turn it over. Just a gentle pressure on your left wrist as your palm faces upwards. Same on the other side, right wrist turns over, palm faces up. We're also going to rotate our wrists, so you can turn your wrists to face the side. Rotate them so your fingers point towards your knees. You can take a gentle rocking motion here. Just feel that delightful stretch on your wrist. And just move around now in any way that feels comfortable to you. One wrist faces forward, one back. Perhaps do the palm facing upwards again. Try that in different rotations. Just a final stretch and warm up for our wrists, a gentle pressure. And we're all warmed up and ready to go. Let's go into our mountain pose. Join me in mountain pose at the front of your mat. Feet can be hip distance apart, or you can bring toes to touch, whatever your preference is. From here, raise your arms and drop into a chair pose. Make sure your knees are not going past your toes, so knees should be no further forward than your toes. You're dropping your bottom back, lift your chest, lift your head. Exhale, release chair, come into a forward fold. And from here, step back onto knees, lower onto elbows, clasp your hands together, and we're going to come into a forearm plank. And make sure your bottom's not pointing up here, we're not doing a dolphin. Try and keep that neutral, straight position. If the forearm plank is too much today, you can lower onto your knees. And a few inhales and exhales here in forearm plank. Great workout for your shoulders again. Lower your knees for a second. We're going to come onto our hands, lift our knees into a plank briefly, and then we're going to pull forward and through to our up dog. So chest open, into up dog, and then toes under, and up to downward dog. Take a moment to stretch out in downward dog. Feel your way into the pose. Take your right foot behind your left, bend your left knee, and just open your body out for a lovely side stretch on the right hand side. Push into both arms equally. Come back to centre. Left foot behind right. Bend your right knee and open up the left side of the body. Back to centre. And left side lifts. Step through. Drop your heel and raise up into a warrior one. From here, turn your right foot so that the long side of your foot is parallel to the back of the mat. And we're going to open up into warrior two, archer variation. So left arm goes forward, right arm touches the left and then draws back as though you were pulling a bow. Perfect pose for this book. The perfect archer for Atalanta. Hold a few breaths here. Try and make sure your knee is directly above your ankle. Tighten that core. And then we're going to take a brief half moon. So if you step forward, push your weight into your front foot, your left foot. Lower your left arm down. Feel free to take a block here. Raise your right arm, right leg. And then from that half moon pose, we're going to relax back down, take a forward fold, and then roll up to mountain. Let's repeat that on the other side. So starting in mountain at the top of your mat, we're going to take a chair pose. You can repeat the chair pose we did before, or for an extra challenge, you can take chair on a block. So if you're feeling adventurous today, feel free. It is a challenge, especially if you've got a really foamy block. Bring your chair pose down. Draw in that navel, that core strength. Make sure your knees aren't pulling forward. Lift your arms, open your chest. And then step off the block if you were using a block. Release into forward fold. Bring your knees back. We're going to take that forearm plank. So coming down onto your forearms, join your hands, interlace your fingers. And come into a forearm plank here. Try and keep your shoulders above your elbows. Keep your spine neutral. So again, we're not dipping, we're not lifting. Neutral spine. A few breaths here. Again, knees down variation is available to you. From there, drop to your knees. Hands beneath your shoulders. Lift into plank and then down and through into up dog. So for up dog, your knees should be off the mat. Squeezing your buttocks to hold that pose. And from there, hips back into down dog. Inhale. Exhale for a breath here. And then right leg goes up. Draw it forward. Turn your back foot to a 45-degree angle and we're into warrior one. From warrior one, right arm comes forward, left arm meets it and then draws back like we're pulling on a bow. Warrior two, archer variation. If you're not channeling that inner Atalanta vibe, that self-belief here, I don't know where you will be. This is a perfect pose for that. From there, release. Step onto your right foot. Again, yoga brick optional. If you were struggling, you can have it on the higher height as well. Half moon pose, so your left leg raises. And ideally, we're looking to be looking up at this point. If you wobble, if you come out, don't worry. That's all part of the process. Release from there. Come down into a forward fold. And roll up to mountain. Wow, I'm definitely feeling powerful. I'm feeling that self-belief now. Okay, let's carry on. We're going to take that sequence another round. Just before we do, let's have another quote from Atalanta. And yet she tried to shrink herself down to a life at his side. I wasn't going to do that. So it's all too easy for us to shrink down, to lower our expectations to meet what we feel other people think we're capable of or want to see. Whether that's in the workplace, with family, with friends. We are not shrinking today. We are powerful. We believe in ourselves. So coming back into that mountain pose, we're going to start in our chair pose. Again, if you want to take a block and really rise to the challenge, if you believe. Arms up. Sit back into chair pose, draw the navel in. Feel that self-belief. From here, release the block and come into a forward fold. Come back onto our knees and take a forearm plank. Perhaps you're now feeling that self-belief and you're ready to lift yourself up into a full plank. Perhaps you've done some full planks and you're now at that stage where you need to rest a little bit and have your knees down. Hold that forearm plank. Hold that self-belief. Drop your knees. Hands under shoulders. Lower. Pull your chest through into an up dog. Heart shines through. Turn your toes and lift up to downward dog. This time we're going to do a few twists in downward dog. So you're just going to turn your heels left and right. So the weight comes onto your toes and you're giving your side body a delightful stretch again. And then left leg raises, pulls through, and we step up into warrior one. Turn the right foot parallel to the back of the mat. Open up into our warrior two archer pose. Really powerful, really strong. We're feeling that self-belief now, like we can do anything, like we want to go and grab a bow and arrow. And from there, we're going to take our half moon pose, again with a block if you need to. Explore the different heights of the block, get a feel for what works for you. Right leg lifts, right arm lifts. Come back to a forward fold. And round up to mountain. Final round on the other side. So starting in mountain. We're going to take that chair pose, variation on the block. Arms go up, sit back. Let's hold it here for a few more breaths this time. Core strong. And step off the block into a forward fold. Step back onto your knees. Forearms down, fingers interlaced, forearm plank. Should really be feeling that strength in your shoulders now. Lower your knees, hands under your shoulders, and lower and pull your chest through into up dog. From there, hips go back, and we're into a downward dog. A breath here. Right leg goes up, comes forward, and we're into warrior one. Right arm comes forward, left arm to touch, pull back that bow. Draw in that self-belief. From here, we're going to take our half moon pose. Bring your block forward. Press into your right foot. Lift the left leg. Lift the left arm. Believe. And release. Come down into our forward fold. And roll up to mountain. Amazing job. Okay, what an amazing sequence so far. Our shoulders are warmed up, our legs are burning, our thighs are burning, our core is strong, our wrists are warmed up as well. We're going to take our crow pose. So before we go into it, let's just have one more quote here. I needed to remember who I was, who I had always been, a woman who was unafraid. And that's exactly the vibe we need to channel right now as we come into our crow pose. So we feel unafraid. And to help with that, you might want a cushion and you might want some blocks to hand. So make sure you have everything you need. Coming to a squat or garland pose, up on your toes is fine. Place the cushion in front of you if you want that reassurance. Our arms are nicely warmed up, our wrists are strong. Place your hands on the mat in front of you and just practice moving forward so that your forearms are directly over your wrists. It's your forearms that are going to be bearing the weight. If your forearms are back here, you're never going to get that lift in crow. So we need to get directly above. Our knees are going to come onto the back of our arm up here. And you'll find that you might end up with some bruises on the back of your arm. It's inevitable because we are putting our weight there and it's not used to having any weight there. But that's not a bad thing. We have that belief. We are fearless. We are Atalanta. So, letting your knees press onto the back of your upper arms. Just lift your bottom up and allow yourself to tip forward a little bit. Just explore that weight onto your hands. Now you're not going to look down at the cushion. The cushion's there just in case. You're going to look forward. If you are looking down, you're going to tip down. So you're going to look forward and just explore lifting one foot up, then the other. Try and draw your feet together. And if you feel ready and able today, lift both feet up. If this is too much for you, we've got a few options here. You can take a block for your feet to get a bit extra height before you start. So here we're already on a block, we've already got that little bit of height, and it just makes that tip forward a bit less daunting. And it might be you just come up just a little way over your block. If you're still feeling a bit nervous, you can use a block for your forehead. So your hands come onto the mat, your forehead goes onto the block. I've just got to adjust it here. It's actually harder for me with the block there. You might find you want to adjust it just to get it in the right position. There we go. If you are finding that pressure on the back of your arm is too much, and it does take some getting used to, when I started crow, I put my knees on the outside, so I'll just show you that. Your knees are now outside your arm, and you're squeezing your knees, squeezing your thighs together. I find it a bit harder to hold that for as long. So have a little bit of fun here, have a little bit of self-belief. Explore if you want to put the cushion in front of your face, if you want to use the yoga brick behind you to lift your feet. You can take 2 yoga bricks, stack them behind. So then you've got a lot of height already for your feet. Your hands are down, forearms, shoulders are above. Knees onto the back of your arm. Look forward, don't look down. And then allow yourself to lift off. Okay. I hope I've given you enough time to explore crow pose. Have a play with it, have fun with it, and believe in yourself. It's not going to happen overnight if it's your first time trying it. But even if you are just practicing that motion of tipping or getting used to the height of the block so that you feel that You allow yourself to feel the fear and do it anyway. Give it a go. Enjoy your crow pose. You deserve a well-rested Shavasana. So I'm going to ask you to lay down on your mat now. Stretch your legs out wide and comfortably at the edge of your mat. Allow your arms to drop to your side, palms facing upwards. And we're going to take a final quote here. It's a simple quote, but it's a really good one. They should see what you can do. So as you lay in Shavasana, and I invite you to take a long Shavasana here, a nice rest after that demanding sequence, you've done really well. Believe in yourself. And like it says, they should see what you can do. Don't be ashamed. Let the world see how amazing you are. Believe in yourself. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next model yoga sequence.